Shalom, 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 yasha'Allah. This your boy, Brother Shem Allah, back at you with another quick edifying video. Today's lesson is going to be called, They Shall Be Like Madmen, Sparing None. They shall be like madmen, sparing none. All right, first and foremost, I'm going to give all praises, honor, and glory. I want to say, Call Halal Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Rawchaa, Qadash. That's all praises to the Heavenly Father, whose name is Yahawah, and his only begotten Son's name, who you ignorantly call Jesus, whose name is Yahawashi. All right, and the Holy Spirit, which is the Rawchaa Qadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of GMS who have ruled well to the Spirit and have fed and edified the sheep in these last days, and has pushed this gospel and this truth to the four corners of the earth in these last days. A mighty shalom. Another mighty shalom to all you Akim out there laboring on the highways and on the hedges and on the unicorn, which is this internet, pushing this 100% doctrine, this 100% truth to the four corners of the earth in these last days. A mighty shalom to you all as well. Like I said, today's lesson is going to be called, And They Shall Be Like Madmen, Sparing None. All right. I came across this article earlier today. This is from Mirror Online. It says, ICE now targeting legal residents in Chicago and fining them $130 for not having papers on person. It says a legal citizen said that he was targeted by ICE agents in Chicago and was fined for not having his papers. It says Ruben Antonio Cruz, 60, was sitting with a friend in Rogers Park on October 9th when Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents pulled up onto the street and headed straight for the duel. They asked us if we have papers. I said I do, but I don't have them on me. Cruz, who is originally from El Salvador, said it comes after an out-of-control ICE agent yells, "Do something," before shooting a woman 5 times. It says Cruz told the Chicago Tribune that the agents put him and his friends in their truck and drove around in circles while they asked questions such as where he was born and what his parents' names are. I told them they are dead, said Cruz, but the agent still needed the information to look him up in the database. After verifying that Cruz was legally in the country, he was let go, but his friend, who did not have legal status, was taken away. It says, but Cruz didn't leave empty-handed, as the agents wrote him a $130 ticket for not having his papers, which all registered foreign nationalists must carry with them all at all times, according to federal law. However, before Nero's second term, the law was rarely enforced. It says the National Immigration Justice Center in Chicago told the outlet that it hadn't seen any of its clients receive citation Cruz had, but it's part of a recent push by the administration to ensure immigrants register with authorities and keep their documents with them at all times or face penalties. It says the Immigrant Legal Resource Center called it hateful tactic. It says meant to cause panic and fear throughout the country. It says Babylon has never been a place where people need to show one's papers, said Ann Yonka, the communications director of American Civil Liberties Union of Illinois. Ticketing a lawful permanent resident and forcing him to appear in court and pay a fine for not carrying their papers is unnecessary and cruel. Says he continued, it does not make our community stronger or more safe. It is simply part of Trump's administration attempt to make life uncomfortable for all immigrants. It is just awful, right? And we see it's not all immigrants, right? They're only targeting, those certain ones, man. Those are the tribes, okay? It says Cruz lives in a government-funded apartment, but isn't working due to his poor health. He told the outlet that he was relieved to be released, but said he worries about how he'll pay the fine. The ICE agent told him he has to pay it within 60 days or go to court. Says it's not fair because I said, let's go to my house and I'll show you my papers. I'm a resident, said Cruz. Meanwhile, Maria Greeley, 44, was leaving a double shift at her job when she was surrounded by 3 federal agents who grabbed her and tied her hands back with zip ties. Greeley asked the masked agents for their names, but they didn't answer. She claimed she was questioned for an hour. Greeley, who was born at Illinois Masonic Health Hospital, is adopted and carries a copy of her passport in case she runs into federal agents. I am Latina and I am a service worker, she told the Tribune. I fit the description of what they're looking for now. All right. During questioning, Greeley said the agent told her that she doesn't look like, all right, a Greeley. Said this isn't real. They kept telling me I'm lying. I'm a liar. She called. I told them to look in the rest of my wallet. I have a credit cards, my insurance. Greeley was let go, but says the incident still terrifies her. I just have to stay strong and not think about it. I'm still here. Luckily, all those other people are getting taken. Says the Nero administration continues to rain down on undocumented immigrants all across the U.S., but particularly in major cities, including Chicago and its suburbs, known as Operation Midway Blitz. On October 1st, the Department of Homeland Security announced that it had made 800 arrests in the area since the mission began at the beginning of September. Federal agents have claimed that they are targeting the worst of the worst. Several bystanders have been swept up, and people across the city are accusing the government of widespread civil rights violations. U.S. District Judge April Perry blocked the Nero administration from deploying National Guard troops in Illinois last week, saying the government's credibility issues made many of its claims unreliable. All right. And you see, all right, there, as the scriptures say, all right. Well, listen, at this point they don't care, all right. They're going after everybody, all right. You got your papers, doesn't matter. Oh, you don't have them on you? Well, that's gonna be a fine, right? They're gonna try to get you either way, all right. 2nd Esdras 16 and verse number 70, it says, "For there shall be in every place and in the next city a great insurrection upon those that fear Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi." And who are those that fear Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi? The Israelites. All right, you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. All right, and you have the diaspora, who looks like these other nations, but your lineage goes back to Jacob. All right, so it says, they shall be like madmen, sparing none, but still spoiling and destroying those that fear Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. For they shall waste and take away their goods and cast them out of their houses. All right. My man literally went to, he's sitting out at a park with his buddy and they roll up on him. All right. They roll up on him. What do? They question him. All right. They fine him. Right. And then what happened to the buddy? Hey, the buddy's missing. All right. They don't care. All right. The scriptures talk about, let's get this real quick. Not gonna make this too long. Salakia, right? The scriptures talk about how they're coming down with great wrath. All right. But we understand. Where is it? Lamentations 4 and 18. It says they hunt our steps, that we cannot go in our streets. Our end is near, our days are fulfilled, for our end is come. All right. The man said, he's just sitting at the park with his buddy, just having a conversation, and they roll up on him, right, and yoke him up. All right. And that's literally what they're doing. They're going through the city, just hunting people down, right? And then any excuse. All right, well, you are supposed to be here. Well, why don't you got your papers on you? All right, well, you know what? I'm gonna write you a ticket. You know, and then guess what? If you can't pay it, then you got to go to court. And guess what? Now you can't go to court. What do you think is gonna happen to him? All right, you know, this is what's going on. It says our persecutors are swifter than the eagles of heaven. They pursued us upon the mountains. They laid wait for us in the wilderness. Okay. They wait, you know, that's what they're doing. All right. They're waging war right, you know, in the inner cities. Okay. And they're coming after them. Coming after them right there in their home thing. Right. You coming home from work after a double shift. What do? They snatch you up. Okay. Ride you around. Who are you? Who are your parents? You know, this is what's going on. All right. And these incidents, you know, they're increasing. All right. And guess what? Chicago is now what more in these other cities, right? To come. It's coming. All right. The persecution is coming. All right. And it's already here. Okay. And this man, you know, he is a madman, and he is going to, you know, continue with this. All right. But they literally are hunting the steps. Okay. And why are they doing this? Scriptures say because they can. Right. Micah chapter 2, verse number 1. Right. It says, woe to those who oppose the poor. All right. And we are the poor. All right. Micah chapter 2, verse 1. Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it. Why? Because it is in the power of their hand, right? That's why they're doing it, because it's in the power of their hand. Well, listen, I'm a legal resident here. Oh, okay, don't worry about it. Oh, you know what? You don't have your papers? Here, here's a ticket, $130. I don't have a job. Well, guess what? Then in the stat, you go to court. We're gonna get you either way. You know, that's Esau's tactic. That's their unrighteous decrees, right? Let's get that. That's what they do. All right. You know, they set you up because they know that you can't pay it. All right. Now what can they do? You know, now they can lock you up now next time they see you. All right. Isaiah chapter 10, verse 1, it says, woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees and write grievousness, because they write grievousness which they have prescribed. All right. So they're coming up with these laws and these different things, these acts, and they're only using it towards those people. All right. When you look at it, they're not going after, you know, the Afghanistans who came here. All right. By planes, by, you know, plane loads. Right. They're not going after them. They're not going after, you know, Ham who crossed the border. Right. Or Moab who crossed the border. That's not who they're going after. Right. They're going after Jake, man. All right. It says, woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees and that write grievousness which they have prescribed, to turn aside the needy from judgment and take away the right from the poor of my people, that widows may be their prey and that they may rob the fatherless. All right. And they could care less. Okay. They care less. They're going to go home, right, to their families, and they're going to be good. All right. And they're going to talk about the stories about how, you know, and you already know, you know, oh man, I just punched this lady in the face, right? Because she said, you know, she was talking back to me, right? And these are the things that are going to be going on. It said it shot a lady 5 times. Shot her 5 times, right? This is, and it's only going to get more excessive and more worse. All right. What is that? Daniel. Let's get Jeremiah, right? Jeremiah 50 and 33. It says, thus saith the Lord Yahawah Bahasham of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together, and all that took them captives held them fast. They refused to let them go. Okay, and here we are. All right, this great accusations, the great persecution is coming upon the just not only the northern kingdom but the southern kingdom. Okay, they're like I say, they're gonna blur the lines. All right, they're gonna start this way, just as they've been doing. Right, they said that they were going off the hard with hardcore criminals, and now what are they doing? Just everyday working people. Somebody sitting in the park, right? A senior citizen, damn near sitting in the park chilling, and they coming after them. Okay, so they start off right one way, and they go the other way. What is that? Psalms, right? Psalms chapter 55, verse number 20. It says, "He hath put forth his hand against such as be at peace with him. He hath broken his covenant." It says, "The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart." It says, "His words were softer than oil, yet they were drawn swords." Okay, and that's the mindset, right? And once Jake wakes up and sees, who his true enemy is, man. All right, and they're literally hunting you in your steps, right? And Jake, even now, is still clueless. All right, he's literally, what does it say in the book of Daniel? Wearing out the saints, man. All right, Daniel 7:25. It says, "And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change the times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand until a time and times and the dividing of time." All right, but it's nothing new under the sun. Hey, they're coming down, hard on who? On the saints of the Most High, or the Israelites. All right, like I said, they're not going after Moab, right? They're not going after Ishmael. All right, they're not going after Elam. All right, that's not their target, right? They're going after Jake, man. They're going after the northern and southern kingdom. Okay, they know who they're targeting. All right, and they've created these laws, these unrighteous decrees, based upon them. Okay, and how they'll use it, how they see fit. All right, to the fact, well, oh, you don't have your papers with you? Okay, yeah. Well, you know what? In our law, it says, yeah, $130 that we got to write you a ticket. Okay, this is what's going on, man. All right. And they're going to be like madmen, sparing none. Okay, we saw that earlier in the month where, guess what? When they came in, right, they raided and they kicked down everybody's door. All right, they weren't just going and targeting after, the immigrants, quote unquote, right? They went after everybody. They put everybody in the van, zip tied, right? Children and everything. Okay. So understand who you're dealing with, man. Okay, let's get that real quick and we'll close it out. Ecclesiasticus 12 and verse number 10. It says, "Never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. Though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him. And thou shalt be unto him as if thou hast wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust have not been altogether wiped away." All right, and listen, you got you Jake from the Northern Kingdom, right, and all you who want to participate in this society, right? And what are you doing? You voting, all right, and you're putting this devil in front of you. And what did he do? He's like, we need the Latino votes. We need the black votes. All right. And as soon as he gets in office, got him, right? Now he's coming after you. All right. The same ones who voted for him, It says, see him, Salakia, verse 12, it says, "Set him not by thee, lest when he have overthrown thee, he stand up in thy place. Neither let him sit at thy right hand, lest he seek to take thy seat, and thou At the last, remember my words and be pricked therewith. All right. And that's what a lot of y'all are doing. All right. You had a lot of them, they was voting for him. All right. And he promised you the world. And then what did he do? He turned around and stabbed you in the back. All right. And that's exactly what he's doing. All right. He went there. He did all that to get your vote, to get his, uh his ranking back. And then guess what? Now he's turning and renting you. Okay. So this is, hey, this is, we see what's going on, man. All right. Time to continue to be circumspect. All right. And watch. All right. So, Lord's will, this was edifying. With that, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory. I want to say, Call Halal Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Qadash. Peace and blessings to the elect of the 12 tribes scattered abroad. A mighty shalom to the 144,000 men. Double honors to the apostles and elders of GMS who have ruled well through the Spirit and have fed and edified the sheep in these last days. Another mighty shalom to the rest of the elect in the household of faith. All right, stay diligent, stay focused, keep praying for one another. All right, and call on your power, man. All right, the one true, most high power, whose name is Yahawah, and his only begotten Son, who you ignorantly call Jesus, whose name is Yahawashi, which means he saves, he delivers. All right, call on those names. All right, repent and turn back to Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi, man. It's only gonna get hotter. It's gonna get hotter and hotter, man. All right, the Lord is turning these flames up of persecution. All right, beware, Jake. And with that, I say a ball and shalom.